What is up, everyone? Row Team member Andrew here, and today I am joined by Row Team member Andy, who is also running his own platform called Biohazard Declassified. And today we're going to talk about some of the stuff you may have seen on Zach Cregger's new film pertaining to, I guess you could say, behind the scenes, but it's not really behind the scenes. It's more like people on the street filming things that are going on. Some set photos that have been leaked and released, and zombies and cars and cityscapes and snow, apparently. So, yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so obviously, just to bring everybody up to speed, they're shooting in Prague. Zach Cregger's new Resident Evil film is going to be released back end of next year. Huge budget. I don't think they've actually said what the budget is, but there has been talk that Zach Cregger is getting paid a monolithic fee to do this film. So Constantine, a complete really reversal of what they did with Welcome to Raccoon City, which had a fairly modest budget. I think it was like 30 million.
Yeah.
By Johannes Roberts. There has been talk that a lot of stuff was cut just because it was during COVID. And that maybe led to a couple of huge changes in Constantine. Maybe stuff was missing. Really like to see that at some point in the cutting room floor. But going back to Zach Cregger, obviously Zach Cregger coming off hot of the heels of Weapons, which, by the way, guys, really recommend you check out Barbarian and Weapons. So you kind of got an informed opinion of the style of Zach Cregger, because he didn't just direct those films, he actually wrote them films too. So that will give you, and he is right with Shay Hatton, who Shay Hatton wrote the the Zack Snyder Romero film, which has just escaped out of my head.
Okay, cool.
Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
Shay Hatton wrote that film. So Shay Hatton and Zach Cregger are writing this new Resident Evil film. So yes, they're shooting it in Prague. Lots of stuff's going on. Talks of tentacles. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I read a very early draft of the script. We're not sure how early it was or how late it was, but let's assume that it's an early draft of the script. It's very, very different to what you expect. I don't want to spoil it, and also don't want to give away the sources of how I got it. But yeah, it's very, very. It's not a faithful Resident Evil experience. It certainly hits notes of Resident Evil, and obviously it's set in Raccoon City, but it's not as faithful. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's not as faithful as Welcome to Raccoon City, which by itself is not actually that faithful. But it certainly hits the notes, and without me like revealing key plot points, it certainly hits the notes. But it's all going to depend on how Zach presents this on screen ultimately.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I just keep seeing more and more things, and every time I see more and more things, I already don't have hope. The hope is that ship has sailed a long time ago. But yeah, every time I see a new development, I guess you could say I'm just not surprised. So yeah, the budget, I wouldn't be surprised with how movies are being made today if it is $100-200 million, and he's probably making a shit ton of money, made some kind of crazy deal. When someone's giving you that much money and they tell you to do something, you're going to do it.
Yeah, of course. So, this is just like rumor and innuendo.
Yeah.
But they're saying it's between $65 and $80 million. So
that he's making
he's making $20 million.
Oh, okay.
But the total budget is between $65 and $80 million, which in 2025 money, to be honest, is still not that much in the grand scheme of things. But it's quadruple the budget they had for Welcome to Raccoon City.
And the film's not even done yet, so that number could climb.
Yes, and marketing and all that.
Marketing.
Sort of
Yeah. So it's just like, why are we spending this much money to make movies? I mean, like the cast too. Like, so the cast, I mean, I'm sure they're all great actors, but it's not like, I just feel like it's like, who are they trying to get to go see this movie? Because none of the people in the cast are people that I've been just like, wow, I really got to go see this movie because this person's in it.
Yeah, I
That
think
one
it's a
dude,
lot
what
of people from Weapons, isn't it? Like
I
not
have
like
no, I've never
it's not
seen.
even like Josh Brolin or anything. Like these are just
Josh Brolin was probably like, nope.
yeah, I don't know. But again, I'm not necessarily against using non-named actors. Like when they used Avon Jogia for Leon in Welcome to Raccoon City, I felt like when I saw it when I saw the fact that he was going to be Leon, I thought, yeah, this could actually work. But then he just ended up like not. It's not always about the looks. It genuinely is not always about the looks. But it is if you've already got a self-established character in the lore, it's really important that you don't kind of you miss you miss the like I don't know. I'm trying to articulate it. Hit the key points of who the character is, because otherwise the character might as well just be called something else. You've already got an established character in the Resident Evil fandom, in the Resident Evil world. Why would you then mess with that? So yeah, going back, this does surprise me actually, because Barbarian. I mean, I sent this screenshot to you the other day, and I was actually blown away with it myself. That Barbarian only had a $4.5 million budget. And it
Oh
ended
yeah.
up returning like 10 times at the box office. Obviously, Zach Cregger's not going to be able to do that now. And it does beg the question is, what does a game adaptation need to be faithful to be well received by the audience?
That's a good question because, in particular, pertaining to this franchise, it's technically never been done.
Mm.
So, I mean, you really won't know until you actually do it. I think the people that own the rights to this franchise either genuinely dislike the game or have no interest in it, don't think it'll succeed, don't want to take the risk. Who knows? But whatever it is, they've been avoiding it for like almost 30 years now. So, unless they actually sit down and want to do something that's faithful, you're never going to know. But it's technically never been done.
It's such a like it's a difficult question to answer, because are you looking at numbers? Are you looking at critical reception, like or certainly fan reception? It goes without saying that Resident Evil as an actual film series has been stupendously successful,
Well,
but
yeah, that's because
it's not bit
they're doing whatever they think is going to make money.
yeah.
They clearly
And
don't think that the game itself, anything that has anything to do with the game, can make money, which is why they've hired the people that they've hired the past 25 years to. I mean, I think Paul W.S. Anderson's script was like his own film, and then he kind of just altered it.
yes, I can't
Same
remember what
thing
it
with
was called.
this guy. I think Zach Cregger just had his own idea that he wanted to do, and then, oh, here's a Hollywood IP that I can utilize to boost my career.
Mm.
At least that's how I view it.
I can see that. I can see that being the case. I know he has said that he is a Resident Evil fan, and allegedly, and I can't remember where I've read this, but I've read it somewhere. Someone please fact check me. I think he was streaming Resident Evil during lockdown, so he has an understanding of what Resident Evil is. But this goes on to like casual horror versus survival horror, and we're in this very unique position, right, where we produced our own Resident Evil fan film, crowdfunded by the community. We didn't have any like shareholders to please, or ultimately we had to kind of please, so far as is reasonable, we had to please the people that had backed our film. I totally get that. But ultimately, whatever we ended up punching out at the end was our own doing, and whether it got a million views or one view, we didn't lose anything. Now it's different when you've got a big commercial production which has got multiple layers of financing, and they have to have a return on investment, like come what may. So things have to be adapted to appeal to that casual audience. So initially, Andrew, do you think that Resident Evil is strong enough to appeal to a casual horror viewer?
Yeah, I do. I think you need the right person behind it. I keep bringing this up all the time, but uh, what's his name? Lord of the Rings.
Peter Jackson?
Peter Jackson. Thank you. Perfect example of the right person at the right time.
Mm.
So, I mean, I also you could argue Francis Ford Coppola with The Godfather.
Yes,
That
sir.
was his obsession. So I think you just have to have the perfect combination of the right person at the right time. Sam Raimi with Spider-Man. Uh, you
But
hear the stories
was
about
Spider-Man faithful though? Was it a faithful adaptation of the comic? I've not actually
it was like
read
a
the original
blending of
comic.
a lot of different things, but yeah, I don't think it was anything that really deviated too far. I mean, unless you consider the whole web shooter thing a huge misstep, but it seems like a lot of people like that. But he did incorporate a lot of things from the comic books into his films. They were just kind of in different spots in different orders. Like Gwen Stacy didn't come in until the third film, when I think that was his first love and not Mary Jane.
Right.
I could be wrong. I'm not a huge Spider-Man guy, but um, I do. I think that it can be done. I just don't think there's any interest in doing it for all the other, those various reasons I just mentioned about not wanting to take a risk or not thinking that it's an IP that can make money and just going a whole different direction. Maybe there's some kind of deal between Constantine and Capcom where they don't want the games adapted in any way.
See, I think that, but then Welcome to Raccoon City comes out, where it's this weird, like, it's faithful, but it's not. It's such a weird film. I've actually only seen it once, and that was in Vegas with JJ at the time. So
I think Hollywood's just in this weird position right now. Not just Constantine. I'm talking across the board where I don't know if the suits themselves realize it, the leadership, the people in charge of all these corporate entities. Uh, it's clearly failing. It's not a good business model with, they've taken all these 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old franchises and everything's kind of in the gutter right now for whatever reason. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons. The strikes, agendas, whatever. It's everything. Your phones and scrolling. Um, I think there's going to have to be something that happens soon that reverses that effect, or you're going to see a huge change in the industry. And I see a lot of investments being made in like multi-billion-dollar studios that are getting put up in Texas, Vegas, New Jersey. And it makes you wonder if they're doing so bad right now. Why is all this money being invested in all these top-notch movie studios and all these locations? Like, are they building production for the future to try and recover from the damage that's been done? Or are they going to move production towards a more AI business model or something for this and your TV? Because movie theaters are almost becoming a thing of the past, almost like drive-in theaters.
100%.
Unfortunately, but
yeah, I think it's just a sign of the times, unfortunately.
yeah, I just think that the leadership just needs to change regarding all these decisions on, especially with Resident Evil, on like how things are getting made, and who knows, Zach Cregger's movie could be totally amazing. I have no idea. I didn't read this script that you're talking about. I know he's a good director. I haven't seen Weapons or Barbarian. I hear they're great, but
actually, watch. I would put Weapons to the side for now because Weapons had a big, like a massive fucking budget compared to. But watch Barbarian, and I obviously watched Barbarian after I knew who Zach Cregger was and knew that he was directing Resident Evil, and I was watching it and I was thinking, okay, like I don't want to necessarily agree with his approach, certainly with that script, but like I can see what he's doing here. Like this claustrophobic horror can work for Resident Evil. Like the way it's shot is just surreal. Like it's real surrealism. And it really nails that claustrophobic horror, which Resident Evil is known for, with the fixed camera angles and not knowing what's around every corner and all that sort of fun stuff. He just needs to harness that energy. And this is not advice to Zach Cregger or anything. Obviously, this man's a time-served director. He doesn't need me to tell me to give him advice, obviously, but I do get that there is a bit of a dilemma as well, because one of the big questions that I said in the lead up to Welcome to Raccoon City is when you've got a film of this size, you've also got to appeal to people. And again, we didn't have this issue with Keeper's Diary. We had a target audience, Resident Evil fans. We didn't need to explain who the keeper was. We didn't need to explain who Jill was or the mansion was, because it was already pre-established, because it's a prerequisite that you need to have played Resident Evil to watch our film. However, that prerequisite is gone when you're making a commercial horror film, in my opinion. Zach Cregger has got to introduce, specifically, let's go back to Johannes Roberts with Welcome to Raccoon City. He had to introduce already established characters and still keep the audience on their toes, which is why you got these stupid plot lines with Wesker and Leon. Wesker being this, oh, is it all worth fighting for nonsense? Wesker, that's not Wesker, dude. Wesker don't care. This man is a eugenicist, a genocidist. This man is the second coming of the Austrian painter. Yeah, man. This guy is a terrible person. There is nothing sympathetic about Albert Wesker. He is the biggest heel. He is the heel of all heels. So to then include that, but he needed to do that because it was almost like he had to give Wesker another dimension outside of what was already established. But you're always going to have this when you introduce pre-established characters elsewhere into your film. So Zach Cregger actually has the best approach, which is just put fucking original characters in it. I can mold it to how I want. I can have complex subtext and subplots without affecting the integrity as what has already been established in Resident Evil. So what he could do is effectively, it's almost like making his own Resident Evil game. The only complication that he has done, unfortunately, is he's put it in Raccoon City. If you put it anywhere else, because Becky's done a fantastic video on it on her channel, the Resident Evil formula. It's got to be an isolated location. There's got to be a bioterrorist attack. There's got to be shady corporations. There's got to be monsters. And there's got to be ordinary people in extraordinary situations. So, like, that is the basic fucking sandwich of Resident Evil. It doesn't need to be in Raccoon City. It doesn't need to be in the Spence Mansion. It could just be on fucking Dumb Fuck Island. You know, like a beach town or it could be in anything. You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying, though. It doesn't have to be in like a pre-established location. So I'm interested to see what he does with that.
I'm just picturing a lower third dumb fuck island. That's great.
So yeah, it's there's so much more to come, and I'm sure by the time this goes out, more clips have come out. This happened to Welcome to Raccoon City. We had people in Sudbury like sending us the big rig clips, sending us the choppers, sending us the RPD like gates, and I was like, man, this is crazy. So we're gonna have this because they're obviously shooting it in an extremely public location.
Yeah,
and I think we're just gonna have to see how it goes. I do think they've got the right man. I genuinely think I can't think of anyone else they could put in that role. They could parachute into making a Resident Evil film based on what I've seen with Barbarian and Weapons. To maybe James Wan. That's the only other person I can think of that could do.
He was supposed to at one point. I would have way rather had James Wan than this guy.
Watch Barbarian.
But he was probably like, no, I'm not doing this and that. And they probably said, okay, we're getting someone else.
Yeah, and it could be maybe Constantine film didn't want to pay. Well, saying that, they're paying Zach Cregger $20 million to direct this film. I'm sure that it will impress Mr. One, but it's going to be an interesting time. It might come out, as you said, and it might be this amazing original Resident Evil film that hits all the right notes. Think of like, I don't know, the Tomb Raider films, or Detective Pikachu, or the Sonic films, or even the Super Mario Bros. Film, where it's not really like one to one, but it tickles the right pickles of your brain.
Yeah,
Where it has that kind of because we know what Resident Evil is because we feel Resident Evil when we don't know what's around the corner. When you got the atmosphere, you got
right.
like like crunches of people being eaten around the corner, things sliding on the zombies sliding on the ground, or like something that Resident Evil does well. It has, especially in Resident Evil 2, it has like fake atmospheric noises. Like there's like a sound effect where a window smashes, and it's like no window smash. It's just the game keeping you on your toes. So
Yeah.
he has got such a unique opportunity here, and I really hope he doesn't have to compromise on too much if he is a legitimately big fan of Resident Evil.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of those things, but I personally just it might be a good movie. I just don't think it's going to be what like we're expecting. Uh yeah, I don't know. I just don't think he's the guy that's I think he's just going to make the movie that he's wanted to make. I don't really he could be the biggest fan in the world. I have no idea, but I don't think he is. I don't take what he says at face value. Um, who knows? Like, I feel like they need someone in our space, like Bach, Susie, you, JJ. We clearly know these people are obsessed with Resident Evil. You know, we don't know anything about this guy. He just says, "Oh yeah, I've logged thousands of hours playing these games." Okay, sure, whatever. You know what I mean?
Dude, I drive my car every day. It doesn't make me a mechanic. It doesn't make me an expert on cars, you know?
Exactly. It's like whatever, dude. Okay. Have you sat down? I mean, I guess he's streamed it once. What did he stream? The remake or the original?
I'm not sure. I believe it was the originals. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, I mean, it could be.
I don't know.
It could be a big fan, you know. But
He could be. I
it's all going to depend on what unfortunately, what Constantine films want, and they have a demonstrated history of allowing the casual element of the horror to run away with itself. And I truly believe people love Resident Evil because it's Resident Evil. They don't Resident it's a mild digression, but Resident Evil had the games had this issue when Resident Evil 6 released, where it was like super actiony because what was big at the time? Call of Duty, Gears of War. They wanted to kind of tap into those markets, and at some point you got to say, dude, if I wanted to play Call of Duty, I'll go and play Call of Duty. If I wanted to go play fucking Gears of War, I'll go play Gears of War. They need to find, and I don't know the answer to this because this is for people that are far smarter than me, but they need to find a way to make Resident Evil appeal to the casual audience and not adapting Resident Evil for the casual audience.
think you could do both. I don't see an issue. I don't. It can be done. I feel like I've shown this movie to people who have no, or not this our series, our rough cuts of our series, and our cuts of Keeper's Diary. People who know nothing about Resident Evil, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool." Like I don't know anything about it, but I feel like I would really enjoy it if I saw it on TV or something. So I feel like if you know the notes and you know, like, if you're a student in film, like you've seen Jaws, you know what gets people going. You've seen any Michael Bay film, you know how to
Mhm.
represent action properly. Like, if you know how to do those things, I feel like you can implement those into whatever film you make to capture your audience. And if you're a fan of Resident Evil, I mean, just make the game and do those things. Adapt the game and do those things. Like, why hasn't this ever been done with Batman? Or, like, you go see Batman, it's like you know what you're going to go see. Like, everybody knows the story of Batman. Why is it being done with this franchise? Like, why can't they just do what they do with those movies here? Why do they have to constantly deviate? If they can do it with one franchise, it can be done with all of them.
Yeah,
But it's
Fallout's a
deliberately
good example. Last of Us outside of all of the silly political side of it.
Yeah.
And the real irony of this, to be honest, I don't want to get too much on digression on it, but The Last of Us Series 1 is very similar to Last of Us 1 in how it was received. And Series 2 is very similar to how The Last of Us 2 was received.
Yeah.
But
well, my understanding, it was made by different people, and then Neil Druckmann came in and changed everything for 2 and wanted to inject all his ideas into it. That's my understanding.
Well, they did a really good job of having a very, very strong and it is a lot easier to adapt Last of Us for a series because of the way the game is. It's very narrative storytelling and it's almost like a movie. Like you just play for a bit, put the control down and watch it.
Yeah.
But it did a really good job in really following Last of Us 1 very, very closely, and everything that was added was in addition. It didn't I don't feel like it subtracted too much.
Right.
That it infringed on the original creative liberty, the original creation. Like they had one episode which was just this like character that you just found hanging in Last of Us 1. I can't remember his name; it's escaped me. But Nick Offerman played him in the series. He actually got nominated for an award for that. It was a completely original concept because it was you get the fundamentals right first of it being a faithful adaptation, and then you inject your original creative liberty alongside it, so it benefits it rather than seeking to almost think I can do Resident Evil better than Resident Evil. And the fact is, you can't. Quite simply.
Just make your own story at that point. Why do you have to like?
Yeah, man.
ruin it for everyone
I
else?
think Paul W. Sanderson's script was called Undead.
Undead.
I think it was literally called Undead, if I'm not mistaken. Someone will probably
And then he was just like, "Oh, this is cool."
But Paul W. Sanderson wasn't a horror director, though. I mean, he made Event
action,
Horizon, right?
Yeah, like dramas, actions, thrillers. I think he made Mortal Kombat. I think he made.
Yeah.
So he's kind of dabbled in different genres.
But he wouldn't like. You'd really want someone who is actually. That's why Zach Cregger is so perfect, because that's all he's fucking done now. That's all these guys want to do is horror films. So like,
I don't think it's necessarily a genre thing, though. I think it's like a passion thing.
I do feel like if you want to make a Resident Evil film, we don't remember. We remember sequences in Resident Evil, like super action sequences. Like think of Resident Evil 2, where it had like mad boss battles and stuff, or even like the end of Resident Evil 1, where you blow someone up with a rocket launcher, and then you fly away on a helicopter and it all blows up. But we don't necessarily remember Resident Evil for that. We remember Resident Evil for that fucking dude. You can't see him here, but he's hanging on my wall. The dude that turns around with flesh hanging out of his mouth. He's undead. He's eating one of your guys. That's what you remember. You remember not knowing what's around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember being scared shitless that the dog's breaking into the door. Like, that's what you remember. Horror. It has to be horror driven first, and then the action supplements and complements the horror.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the way you're talking about it is, I think, the key element. I don't think it has anything to do with a director that's good in any specific genre. I think you just need a director that's passionate about the subject. Like, in my view, Star Wars theory should be this president and CEO of Lucasfilm, but we don't live in that world. So it's just...
It's why the void of fan films are created, is because they just can't hit it. And I genuinely hope that Zach Cregger does have a lot of success with Resident Evil, but I just hope it's in good faith and it's not, you're not seeking to do Resident Evil like how everybody else has done it, where it's like, I know what Resident Evil is. It's a post-apocalyptic series, and it's like Mad Max, and there's
Yeah, I don't
sand
think he's
everywhere.
gonna do that. Like it sounds like, you know, like I said, I don't know how big a fan he is, but it sounds like, he does like the games. So I feel like maybe there's gonna be some subtle nods to this or that. I don't it doesn't sound like it's gonna deviate too far from the overall tone. It's just like it just sounds like it's his own thing. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm sure it'll feel very similar to what we're talking about, but it's just going to be very different in that it's like nothing we've seen or known. It's not an adaptation. So
Well, time will tell if come next year, next September, I think it's planned for September, October.
something, yeah.
Time will tell if that comes out and is the most unbelievable Resident Evil experience, original Resident Evil experience, or me and you are sitting here next September and we're planning our next Resident Evil fan film.
I'm already like in starting writing. Like I'm already doing it. Dino Crisis is next, and then probably the next few things for Resident Evil might be animated, fan film wise, because we're gonna want to start working on our own original project.
Yeah, agreed.
So, what are your thoughts on the snow and the running zombies and the cars that don't really look like they're from the '90s?
Oh yes, yeah. Have we had it confirmed it's set in the 90s? By the way,
Why
like
wouldn't it be? It's
could it?
supposed to be. Is it supposed to be Raccoon City?
Yeah, they've got Raccoon City maps, but if it's its own universe and Raccoon City is just another, I know, I know. But what if Raccoon City is very similar? It's just not set in night. I mean, I could be wrong. I can't remember what I read in the script if it was 1998. I might have to park that because I just don't have enough information. If it's set in 1998 and the cars aren't lining up, that's just anachronistic, and they fucking, of all the people that are working on that film, someone surely would have spotted that. So, but that doesn't make sense because all of the buildings look very old and like ornate and that sort of thing, like they
I don't
were
know.
in actual Raccoon City.
Yeah, that's a weird decision. The location that they're using.
Mm.
I would be curious as to know why they chose that location. Um, I don't know whether you're a remake fan of like 3 or an OG fan of 2 and 3. I feel like there's plenty of data for you to plug in, and the way that films are made now, you can use a volume, you can use green screen, and you can easily digitally
Mm.
replace the background. Like if you wanted to show the store, what's that? The store called like Akura or something,
Yeah, yeah,
right at the start of Resident Evil 2. Like if you wanted to show that, you could film your actor in front of a volume nowadays. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
You can do it, but and then if
Man,
you wanted to
it's
do
his own
live,
creation. It's like it's the same with the snow. Like just going back to your question about the snow and the zombies. Like
yeah,
so, snow. I'm not necessarily against a winter Resident Evil. I suppose it's quite a nice contrast if there's blood, because obviously blood on white is very contrasty. That kind of looks cool.
I,
The
yeah,
running zombies, I think I don't know if I'm comfortable with that because
I just don't understand because he said on a couple different occasions that it's set at the same time as Resident
right.
Evil 2, and he doesn't want to make Resident Evil 2 because it's already a game and you can go play it.
Mm.
But he says my movie is going to be something where that's happening over there on that side of the city, and what we're doing is over here on this side of the city. Well, if that's the case, why is there snow on the ground? Because there wasn't any snow on the ground during the Raccoon City
Well,
incident.
man, you are not going to like
Is
what I'm
it
about to
snowing
say
on this?
next.
Is it just snowing right here in this specific portion of the city?
Well, you're not going to like what I'm going to say next because we already know, and actually, this was confirmed in the footage recently that so it's snowing We now have Running Zombies. Running Zombies weren't in the original, unless you count Crimson Heads. But Crimson Heads, as we know, was a very specific like strand of the T virus, which was only found in the Spencer Mansion, and was never found again. Everything is slow zombies. They've got fast zombies in this, so quite clearly he's getting nods from 28 Days Late. 28 Days Later, Walking Dead. Does Walking Dead have Running Zombies? Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe in the later episodes.
No, I mean, I've only watched up to a certain season, but it was very. Greg Nicotero and Frank Darabont were very hardcore on like George Romero inspiration.
So they should have been. Those early seasons were fucking brilliant.
The Frank Darabont ones, yeah, sure.
Yeah, agreed. But so if it's set in the original Raccoon City, but in a different part of the town, it's snowing. You've got running zombies, so that counts as cloud. It's like the Mario Kart fucking thing that picks you up. So yeah, you've got running zombies, you've got snow, and this is going to absolutely kill your hype for this film. There are tentacles. There are tentacle monsters in this. Like,
is there footage? Did people film that or something? Or?
Well, it's in the script. Oh, it's in the script. Okay. It's in the script, and there is a scene where it shows someone getting pulled away very violently. So it's not out of the realms of possibility that is a tentacle pulling that person.
Nemesis? Just on a different side of town or something? Or
what, Nemesis on the ground? Pulling someone on the ground? I don't know. I just think I think we will get annoyed at ourselves if we treat this like it's it's not an original film, and it's not like Welcome to Raccoon City, where it's kind of in the same location and it's trying to rewrite the story how he wants to do it. You're just better off saying, do you know what? They've brought somebody on, they're paying him. They obviously got faith in him because they're paying him a shitload of money. They're giving him a huge budget. And I think, as kind of like my closing thoughts, he is making an original film, and it's going to hit the same notes as Resident Evil. It's going to give you those tingles that Resident Evil did. It's going to blend a bit of weapons in it. It's going to blend a bit of Barbarian in with it. Probably put his own little spin on it. But ultimately, to avoid ultimate disappointment, do not assume in any case that this is going to resemble any Resident Evil that you've seen to date. Which, to be honest, not necessarily a bad thing. Because look at every Resident Evil game that's come out has had to reinvent itself. So just treat it like that. It's almost like its own thing. It's its own thing. It's got to establish its own reputation. It's just annoying it's got the Resident Evil name on it.
I just wish that they would just give the fans what they want, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah, man. Subscribe to our Indiegogo, boy. And we'll give the fans what they want. And that's not saying that we know absolutely everything. Like, with every production we do, we learn more things. Yeah. And one thing that I do appreciate is how difficult it is to manage expectations, is because whether we like it or not, we may think we have done the most authentic Resident Evil experience that you can do. But Resident Evil has reintroduced itself many times over the last 30 years, and everyone has their own interpretation on what they believe Resident Evil to be. So to be honest, completely impossible. Even if Zach Cregger had the most clean, authentic adaptation, he's never going to win, because someone is always going to be like, that's not authentic enough. So
that's true. That's the problem with this franchise, and really almost every franchise now, is the audience is just so divided, just generationally or whatever. It's when you have someone that makes something and they move on and someone else takes over and decides to go a different direction, then a whole new subset of fans are created that like these and not this. Sometimes maybe both, but this franchise has just been split up and divided so much over the last 30 years. There really isn't a definitive Resident Evil fan anymore. It's like you have some people are like, yeah, I like everything. Some people are only fans of the PS1 games. Some people like 6,
The remake ones, yeah.
4, 5, and 6. Some people like 7, 8, and maybe 9 coming out. So it's like there's 3 kind of sets of trilogies that are all very different from each other. So I don't know. It's weird. We didn't really have this growing up because it was like you're going to see Superman and Christopher Reeves was always Superman. Now it's like, oh, I like Henry Cavill. No, I like David Cornsweet. It's like now everybody's like, if you don't like Henry Cavill, I hate you. Like, dude, just relax. It's Superman. So we don't have to hate each other. Like I enjoy. I don't really like 7, 8, or 6, but they're kind of fun to play. I just don't find myself going back to play them as much as I do the older games.
And that's not to say that all of the Resident Evil games have been terrible. Actually, my fondest memory of shooting the Keeper's Diary was going back to your parents' trailer and rewatching Resident Evil 1 and really gaining appreciation to kind of what he achieved. I appreciate it was his own concept. He adapted it to Resident Evil, but he actually did a pretty good job of it. I was still am thoroughly entertained by the first Resident Evil before it just went really crazy. I think it was I think it was a good film. It was its own original concept, and then right at the end, she goes into Raccoon City. That's a perfect way of building the lore. It's not perfect, obviously.
It's a fun film to watch, but this is what I'm saying. Like when you just deviate so far from where it started or what it's supposed to be, it's like it has no definition anymore. So now you have someone that's a fan of the films and has no idea what the games are like, So it's like when you're just deviating so far from the truth, what are you doing at that point, So it's cool. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, we didn't have this growing up. It's a very recent concept within the last 10, 15 years. Just because so many franchises have gone so many different directions. And there's this generational divide. I mean, look at Star Wars. There was an original fan base, and then when the prequel movies came out, nobody liked the prequel movies when it came out. But people that are my age and younger love the prequels. Some people only love the prequels in that age group, and some people like both trilogies. And then there's the Disney people. Some people like all of them. Most people don't. So I don't know. I just wish we would just stop the division and go back to some sort of social construct that just follows the narrative and stops dividing people. But I think Pandora's box has already been opened, so I don't think there's ever going back.
The door to safety is shut.
Exactly. So I don't know. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this Zach Cregger movie. My bar is set low and I have no hope, but we'll see.
Yeah, if your bar is set low, you're never going to be disappointed. And if all you've got to do is spend fucking $20 going and wasting your time watching a 2-hour Resident Evil film, well,
is it going to be theatrical? Are they releasing in theaters or going to go streaming?
I would have thought with that budget, it's probably going to be theatrical.
Oh, because they're going to lose money hand over fist.
I can't see it being Prime.
Nobody's going to go see that in the movie theater. Unless it's like, oh my God, look at that trailer. But I don't know, man.
Well, they've got time to prove us wrong, but
the brand has been tarnished so much. The name is just soiled. So it's just like, if it was, Weapons or an original film without that IP attached to it, maybe. But like everybody's seen Resident Evil. Everybody knows that it's been ruined. Why are they going to go see it in a movie theater again? This guy sucked at doing it. That guy sucked at doing it. Why am I going to go see this guy going to do it? You know what I mean?
I can't remember the last time that somebody had. Well, I suppose maybe the Marvel and DC do it, where they've basically like it's another person actually, Batman's probably a perfect example of it. That it's another person like picking up the reins and being like, I'm going to direct a Resident Evil film. I was thinking,
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't think of an example, and then you've literally got Batman, which has had so many different like iterations.
Well, Batman's always kind of been there. Hasn't like some of the '90s movies were terrible, but for the most part, Batman's pretty been a solid franchise.
Hmm.
Star Wars, I mean, it was everything growing up.
Mm.
It was like it was the world, but now it's worth 2 pennies.
Mm.
So I feel like that's already what's been done here with Resident Evil. Like Paul W. Sanderson had his success, um, but it's just it started off strong and it's
Fell off a
very
cliff.
weak. It's just
I
very
remember
weak.
watching the final chapter, and I literally went to like the BFI IMAX, like unbelievable experience, like if it was a good film. And I just remember walking out going, "What the fuck did I just watch?" Like Wesker just got killed by a door. I don't know how to feel.
Yeah, that's how I felt after I walked out of the Welcome to Raccoon City, and that's why I'm here now, because after that I was like, fuck this shit.
Yeah. Closing thoughts.
Not really. I feel like we covered a lot of good ground there. So, you?
Yeah, I mean, let's see what the next couple of months, what happens the next couple of months. If not, we're just going to be going doing our own thing and satisfying the hardcore Resident Evil fans as we've done before and we're just about to do again. So
Yeah, man. I feel like if you're a fan and you just do your own thing at this point, because they're not going to do it. So I don't know. If you really want to do something, just do it. That's what I say.
agreed.
So, anyways, yeah, that's it. That's all for this video. Don't forget to check out our latest project on Resurrection, a Biohazard story. I haven't been posting too much. I've been literally editing till midnight every night, pretty much. So, but we should have a trailer out for you soon. I think we're trying to do it for your horror game show award, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So hopefully we'll have it for that. What is that? The December 14th, 13th?
Yeah, 13th. So there's a bit of time on it. We'll have to obviously get it scheduled in a little bit earlier, but yeah, that's the current trajectory, unless something catastrophic comes up.
So about 1 month, hopefully we'll have a trailer for you guys. So keep an eye out. Well, yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about what our thoughts were down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.